have the session about how the Grameen dAAk Sevak can actually deliver impact to the rural areas via the account aggregator.
So, good afternoon, everyone. We are hoping to make sure that you don't go off to sleep since this is immediately after lunch. So, we have a test for you. How many people here speak good Hindi? Oh, very good. So, we have a treat for you. We'll start the session with a quick conversation with a postwoman. Venkat kept saying postman, but we have a surprise for him also. तो थोड़ा बहुत हम लोग हिंदी में बोलेंगे. सबसे पहले तो ये बताइए आपका नाम क्या है?
मेरा नाम आकांक्षा अरुण गायकवाड़ है.
अच्छा. और आप इंडिया पोस्ट पेमेंट बैंक या पोस्ट में कब से हैं?
4 साल हो गए मुझे पोस्ट ऑफिस में काम करते हुए.
ओके. बाय द वे शी स्पीक्स फ्लुएंट इंग्लिश. शी इज अ बीएससी मैथमेटिक्स. दिस इज जस्ट टू टेस्ट ऑल ऑफ यू. So, what I thought would be useful, how many people have seen an actual Aadhaar transaction done by a postwoman? Postwoman? Okay. No, okay, I have 0, so we'll do that. Luckily, I have a post bank account, so हम लोग एक इन्होंने किया है. Very good. Yusuf has done a transaction. Very good. So, we'll just do a quick demo just to show you that this actually works. So, what? आप जरा बताइए ये क्या है?
This is a fingerprint device. और ये इंडिया पोस्ट पेमेंट बैंक ने हमें जो डिवाइस दिया है वो है, और उसमें माइक्रो एटीएम करके एक ऐप है जिससे हम ये ट्रांजैक्शन करेंगे विद द हेल्प ऑफ दिस फिंगरप्रिंट मशीन.
आप ये बताइए कि कहाँ आप ये ट्रांजैक्शन खुद कर चुकी हैं ऑलरेडी?
मैंने पूरा अपना बीट में जो स्पेसिफिक एरिया होता है पोस्टमैन का, उधर हम लोग ये करते हैं. और मतलब जो फार्मर्स रहते हैं उनको पीएम किसान का जो सब्सिडी वगैरह मिलता है थ्रू आधार अनेबल्ड अकाउंट, तो उधर भी हम लोग उनको विड्रॉ करके देते हैं ये कैश. और डिजिटल लाइक इंडिया पोस्ट पेमेंट बैंक का जो कैश विड्रॉल है, अकाउंट ओपनिंग है, उसमें हम लोग ये यूज़ करते हैं. लाइक पेंशनर्स को हम लोग डिजिटल सेविंग सर्टिफिकेट जो निकाल कर देते हैं, उधर भी हम लोग ये यूज़ करते हैं.
तो आपको कभी किसी कस्टमर ने पूछा है कि पोस्ट ऑफिस से या बैंक से लोन सर्विस कुछ मिलता है क्या?
यस, बहुत बार पूछते हैं सर लोग, बट दे आर लाइक कि मतलब अदर बैंक्स में वगैरह जब जाते हैं तो बहुत सारे पेपर वर्क लगता है वहाँ पे. सब मतलब पूछते हैं कि आपके बैंक में भी है क्या ऐसे लोन फैसिलिटीज़, तो अभी तक तो नहीं
है. तो अगर आपके पास कस्टमर के पास कोई ऐप हो और आप उनको मदद कर सकें कि एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म जो होता है उसको फिल करके पूरा 10 मिनट के अंदर उनका स्टार्ट टू फिनिश अगर उनको लोन मिल सकेगा, तो आपको लगता है कि कस्टमर्स लेंगे?
यस, बिल्कुल क्योंकि कस्टमर्स मतलब उनको सब फास्ट चाहिए, सब जल्दी चाहिए. और बाकी सब बैंक्स में सब लाइक बहुत पेपर वर्क भी बहुत होता है और टाइम भी बहुत जाता है. और मोस्टली जो स्मॉल वेंडर्स होते हैं, जो वेजिटेबल वेंडर्स और फ्रूट वेंडर्स होते हैं, उनको ऐसे छोटे छोटे रिक्वायरमेंट्स रहते हैं उनके, तो उनको मतलब ये लोन्स की बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरत रहती है सर. तो ऑफ कोर्स वो लेंगे अगर उनको उनके घर पे बैठे हुए 10 मिनट में लोन मिल रहा है तो वो बिल्कुल लेंगे.
ठीक है. अभी हम लोग एक ट्रांजैक्शन का डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन करेंगे. मैं 200 रुपये जमा करूँगा मेरे खाते में. अब बताइए क्या क्या ऑप्शंस हैं मेरे पास?
आधार आप अपना इंडिया पोस्ट का वो कार्ड दे सकते हैं, या आपका आधार भी चलेगा, या आपका मोबाइल नंबर से भी हो जाएगा.
ठीक है. मोबाइल नंबर इजी है, बट मेरे ख्याल से मेरे पास
QR card. You may be having QR card. Yeah.
So India Post issues bank accounts and has a QR card. I promise you I am not a plant, and Venkat didn't just give this to me. I have personally opened this account of my own volition under no pressure from the government of India or the Department of Post.
Yeah, I'll explain you. This actually is an identifier for your account. See, when you open an account, generally you get a debit card. So we don't issue a debit card because of the fact that there are not many ATMs across rural areas. So that's how to identify it quickly, this card is given. So it's an alternate to the normal debit card.
Thank you. So she's just scanning the QR code of my card. नहीं हो रहा है. So this is unrehearsed, as you can see. 9920782106.
आपका अकाउंट आई थिंक डीएक्टिवेट हो गया, बहुत दिन
Sorry.
यूज नहीं किया.
So that's tragic. But दूसरे बैंक के अकाउंट में से कैश विड्रॉ कर सकते हैं?
Yes,
ठीक है,
कैश
value-
नहीं है सर.
Let's try एक बार. So she is going to try to do an AEPS transaction.
What's your name?
Anand.
आनंद.
बस काफी.
मोबाइल नंबर.
9920 मैं डाल देता हूँ.
को ओटीपी आएगा.
आ गया.
यस, कैश विड्रॉल का आधार नंबर लगेगा.
8319 मैं वो डाल देता हूँ. क्या
हाउ मच अमाउंट?
आपके पास कितना कैश है? 200 रुपीज़.
यस. बैंक नेम.
HDFC. So she's taken my Aadhaar number, amount, bank name, and now she's going to collect my fingerprint. Hello?
No.
Hold it for a while. Done.
Customer account is not linked to Aadhaar number.
So just to give you a sense of the problems that they face on the field. So I will let her go, and then we will carry on with the rest of the thing. Thank you so much. Please give her a big round of applause. Okay, so very briefly, what we tried to do, and just to give you a quick introduction, CGAP is called the Consultative Group to Assist the Poor. It is a small think tank housed in DC out of the World Bank. We have done research on financial inclusion for many, many years. As part of that, we did research in several countries, trying to understand the role of agent networks in advancing financial inclusion. And through that conversation, we had discussions with Venkat, who was, so we were trying to figure out what might be good use cases to advance financial inclusion in remote rural areas. Because in cities, the problem is more or less solved. We have a very high density of population. Bankers love to be in cities, so there's no real problem of bank branches. But rural is quite different. So we spoke with Venkat. And since it's such a large, so the distribution network of the bank is really what we felt would be great. And then, we also understood that there is an unmet credit demand. But as, I forgot her name. What is her name?
Akanksha.
Akanksha. As Akanksha told us, there's a lot of documentation required, low-income customers struggle with it. So then we were thinking about how to make this happen through the Account Aggregator framework. And SamvAAd also came along and said that one of the benefits of this is that you can make the whole process almost entirely paperless, start to finish. So we thought, the post office is a very old organization. I don't know how many of you know, but it's more than 200 years old. And literally, the postman or postwoman reaches every single household by definition, right? So every single household in the country is covered. So we felt this might be useful to see what we can do using the Account Aggregator network. And then we had the good fortune of getting SamvAAd on board, who said that, we could probably think about doing an assisted credit model. And here, what we are saying, assistance, is that the app is going to be run by the customer themselves initially, because we didn't want to kind of go to the sort of feature phone issues that we might have. So we're looking at an app which the customer will run, because there are certain regulatory constraints in terms of what an intermediary, in this case the postman or the IPPB, is allowed to do. So the app will be run by the customer, but post-women and post-men like Akanksha will walk the customer through the journey. Now, the key thing we found out in this whole thing is that assistance is very important. As all of you who have gone to any parking lot in this city will know, you have an assistant even to punch the ticket out for the parking, right? So we are an assistance-led country, and therefore, for customers, it's a very difficult journey to navigate. Filling out a loan application process is complex because you have to complete KYC, you have to complete a bureau check, you have to then look at offers, you have to try and sign a digital contract, then you have to set up a UPI mandate in order for the repayments. It's a pretty complex journey. So as we went through that process, the three organizations, we realized that assistance is a very important part of this journey, and that's where the trust that postman and postwomen generate may be very helpful in getting people to engage with this process. And the second thing that is important about the assisted digital model is that there is a big, while all of the things that, say, Praveena talked about and what happened in the first session, these are remarkable. But this is a very different India to what you see there's a very big digital divide. So a large number of people are unable to navigate this complicated process. And therefore, assistance is almost necessary in order to make sure that, as Nandan was saying, 20% is reached, there's an 80% of population that is not reached. Even if we get to 50%, I think that would be very helpful through this model of last mile assistance. So I think that's really what we tried to accomplish. I'll just quickly look if there's anything else that... So I think what we did was build an application with the help of Jocata. IPPB is the giant in the game because of the distribution, and we are almost there in terms of integrating with a lender. So the last leg is pending. We will hopefully have a lender. And the idea is very powerful here because what we are trying to do is to get, like you go to, say, Policy Bazaar or Bank Bazaar. You go to a website, and this is all for the top 10% people. You go to the website, and you say, I have this car or that car, and then it gives you 10 offers, and you pick an offer. You don't choose the first one that you get. That's not typically how bank loans. So we are thinking of that model for credit, where the customer fills up an application form, the data of the customer is given to 2 or 3 lenders who are all partnered with IPPB, and then the customer gets offers, the customer chooses an offer, and then is able to get themselves a loan. So I'll stop there, and then maybe ask Venkat to say a few things, and then...
I would like to bring in the relevance of the Grameen dAAk Sevaks in this case. Like today, if you look at the medium that we use as a seen, it's a mobile phone. It's nothing but a mobile phone with a micro ATM application ported into the phone. So which means you can actually port as many services as required in that assisted digital medium. So today, the GDS actually goes around and delivers various of these services. So that medium is already available. So how do we add credit as additional product? Now, in order to solve this problem, one of the challenges that we have seen in rural areas is, like you and me, they don't have data sources. They don't have bank statement. First of all, even if they have a bank account, they don't transact it regularly.
Right.
Thankfully, with DBT coming through the account, what we have seen is that at least 6 times in a year, the account gets transacted, whether it is PM Kisan or Manrega benefits. So there is some transaction that is happening. And with UPI and BBPS kind of facilities being available, we are seeing a couple of more transactions. So which means there is a digital footprint which is actually coming into the fore. As Nandan rightly pointed out that digital capital is what we are trying to build. And if we can add more data to this set of customers, more data sources, the postman or postwoman can actually gather that data, and we can solve the problem of having that data available for lenders to take a credit call. Because one of the problem statement here is, how do you take a credit call? Because that requires you to understand, have more deeper understanding about the customer. So which is where we try to build that data rails on the top of whatever that we've already created, whatever network that we have, whatever customer base that we have. So if we can gather that data over and above whatever information that is fundamentally available, I think then it becomes a real problem solver, especially for credit. Like when you look at the data that is available in Manrega, the average credit we see is around, the average balance we see is around 1,000 to 1,300. So which means you can actually take a call of giving say 3 to 5x of that balance over a period of say 6 months. And it can be like a revolving credit facility. Because today one of the biggest problem statements, especially for lenders, is the cost of credit delivery. So which is what we are trying to solve here for, where that cost can be reduced with the medium of the post that is already available.
Okay, I want to add one more thing that IPPB as an institution kindly offered. In credit, there are, of course, 2 or 3 issues. One is that I don't know of any lender who has no physical presence at all. There is ultimately at collection, if there is a default or there is a stress in terms of the customer not being able to pay, somebody has to go. And that cost of that person going is kind of included in this because the post person is actually going there. And the second thing is that sometimes maybe the customer is not maintaining a balance. So even if you have a direct debit mandate, if the lender is able to send a message saying next time the postman comes or the postwoman comes, just pay cash. Although I was unsuccessful in doing the transaction, in most cases, the customer can actually deposit cash. If they don't have cash, towards a loan repayment, that cash can be accepted. And that's a collection service that can be followed. This is different from recovery. So IPPB can assist in collection, but not recovery, right? So I think...
and thankfully now the trend has got reversed. When we started, 80% of our transactions used to be in cash and 20 digital. Now it is 80 digital, 20 in cash.
Okay. So we'll...
Sure. Thank you so
get
much. So
Prashant, who's CEO of Jocata, to give us a demo of what we built and then talk about it.
yeah. So I'll hang around here since I have to get the laptop. But
I can
so
run
essentially
that.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
The design challenge for us largely was we had to build something which was friendly for the postman as well, postwoman, and also to the customer. And again, this was mainly geared towards the tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, so on and so forth. So that was the challenge. We do this, as I said, for some of the larger banks. We offer plenty of digital solutions. They run on our platform, and some of those are easier solutions to solve. But when you have to take this deeper in, this was quite a challenge for us. So this is available in multiple languages. To start with, on the prototype we have English and Hindi, but we're going to roll out pretty much all the languages across. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly walk through English and then we'll play a video of the other one. So here, this is where we will, IPPB, once they tie up with the various institutions as partners, the customer will be able to see who the lending partners are for this particular offering that India Post is offering. And then we'll tell them what to keep handy before, because the postman is there. He will also be able to tell them that you need to bring all of this information. But again, all of this information also we will ask that they keep ready up front so that we can quickly process this. We'll start with the basic steps, which is mobile number authentication. So now here is where we ask the particular customer to say, which is your primary bank account. So this is the account from which they currently either have a DBT scheme or this is their primary banking account. They can choose one of their bank accounts because this is the one for which the account aggregator framework will then take their consent and then move their data to the lender. So we'll tell them what the basic steps are. So it's basically a 4-step process in which all of this will go through. We'll try and get what the purpose of the loan is. Like Venkat said, this is revolving credit. So, and with the postman being there, he will be able to ask them, prompt them, guide them in terms of understanding what this particular use case is for credit. These are very typically small ticket. I think the largest ticket Venkat we're thinking of is about 50,000, 50 to 60,000 is maximum where we're going with this particular product. So there'll be quickly pre-built buttons that they can click on or adjust the amounts as they seem fit. We'll take some basic details if they're available, the PAN or the Aadhaar, so multiple ways of identifying, and that's where then we will ask for the account aggregator framework to kick in. This is integrated with all of the account aggregator frameworks that are available. We can just click through one and go through. This is the account aggregator framework journey itself, which I think a lot of them would be familiar in the sense of we'll enter the mobile number, create a handle for you if it's not already existing. If you already have an handle, it'll recognize that and bring that information out. And then this is the OTP where the consent is taken. It'll show us all the bank accounts that are available on that framework. or the information that came back. We can pick our accounts. And then during this time, we take all of this information through a standard. We built a standard framework. We leverage the Open framework as well. And all of this information is then pushed to all the lending partners that you saw at the start of this journey. So 3, 4, we've integrated with a couple to test it out. But as Anand said, we should go live very quickly with any one of these. So all of this information gets through. We look at all the offers, provide all the checks, and then we generate the offers. So, and within this time, the APIs have kicked in, transferred control to the bank. The bank has done its checks at the back, the bureau check, a soft pull, all of that information, any negative checks that they need to do, they've done that. And then we'll show the offers that are actually available for the customer. And again, keep in mind, this is assisted, so the postman or the woman is always there with the customer. If they have any trouble during this entire journey, they are there. One of the things that we did, so from a design perspective, everything is big and bold on top, all the messaging, but we're also going to add voice onto it so that someone can just hit a button and play any help instructions that they would need actually there. So someone then selects the offer, moves through. So now here, specifically as a design quirk, we wanted them implicitly to, a lot of times you're on a touch screen phone, you touch something, you may agree to something which you don't want to necessarily agree. And so we had deliberately, we put in a swipe button so that they know that this is exactly what they're agreeing to. These are the terms. This is the lender that we're working with. Again, all assisted with the postman or the woman. And now the control is transferred to the bank. So the bank will then run their preferred KYC process. Since the ticket sizes are smaller, they could run an OKYC, they could run CKYC, they could run EKYC. So they could run one of those processes which we'll integrate with, fetch all of this information, show all of this information to the customer. And then this is where the bank transfers control back to India Post Payment Bank. All of that information comes back. The bank account that you chose upfront as the primary bank account number, we publish only the last 4 digits there on the account aggregator framework. Actually, only the last 4 come in. So then the customer has to type in the other digits for that account number upfront. If there is an UPI handle, they can enter it, because we want to set up the e-mandate. Again, this is a small ticket loan. You're allowed an e-mandate to set up on UPI up to 15,000. Now it was 5,000. They increased it to 15,000 last year. So you can set up a UPI recurring mandate over here, which is what we will check when we hit that verify button, if that account is linked to this particular UPI handle. So that happens through that. Again, we can e-sign. We've integrated into NESL and all of those, but here a simple OTP confirmation is also, if the lender chooses to, there's a preferred OTP that they can sign on because it's small ticket. Enter the information in. And then we set up the mandate here. Once the mandate gets set up, so that's the time it takes to do all of the checks and get that set up. We'll say it's successful, and then we'll hit disperse. All of this at the back is working with the bank APIs, with all of the lender APIs. And like we said, we are in UAT with a couple of them that we are currently testing. And then the amount can get disbursed. All of this in our tests have taken, let's say, anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes working with the postman and all of that. So yeah, we think this is, a fantastic tool to get. The other thing is standardization, because the banks only have to integrate with the standard APIs that India Post will expose through our platform to be able to integrate. So there's a lot of standardization built in, and of course it's built on the AA framework. So I think that's all and subsequently, if they have any issues, we spoke about dispute resolution and support. Because the postman is already available, there are a couple of things that we could, we can notify the postman to actually help the customer with in terms of any of the services around that. So yeah, that's that at a high level. I think we have 4 minutes, so
we have maybe 1 or 2 questions. Yeah? Yeah, 1 or 2 questions. Sorry?
Loan repayment.
So repayment, as he showed,
mandate, yeah.
There's a mandate set up. There's a UPI mandate, so it's expected to be entirely digital. So I think the point that you have to take away from this is an entirely digital journey with not a shred of paper is possible from application all the way to dispersal, including repayments. So the repayment is built in as part of the UPI mandate.
Yeah, I would just like to add here, even for this repayment, a lot of people also get cash, right? Their income may be in cash. So they can deposit money into that bank account just before that check hits or the mandate hits.
Sir, what about documentation?
So the documentation is all part. So, there were a number of things. Maybe the screens were not so clearly visible. Information that was collected was PAN. So the PAN verification is built in. Aadhaar number is collected. That can be verified.
And
Bureau
we transfer control to the bank here at this part. So if the bank, today all of the major banks run partnerships with, the Paisabazaars of the world or whoever, and then there is a leg where they can have their digital KYC done. So at this point, we're transferring control to the bank. The bank can choose its preferred method of running KYC, like I said, OKYC, eKYC, or video KYC, and then transfer that control back, through this check, get KYC status that we have. And then once we get that back, then the journey moves forward.
It solves for the unit economics of rural lending. That, of course, it does. Yeah. My two questions. One is, what is the benefit of India Post Payment Bank? The role that India Post Payment Bank is playing. That's one. And what are you looking for in terms of the lender with you want to partner? What are the things that you are looking for from a lender?
Okay, there are two benefits both from sourcing as well as from lender's perspective. So as far as India Post Payment Bank here is concerned, so we will be acting as a business correspondent for the respective lender, because that's the arrangement which is as per the regulation. And in terms of commercials, there are two elements. One is there is a sourcing fee. The other is there is also a collection that forms part of this. Like as I said, there is a cash collection which might happen. So that cash collection also can have some sort of a commercial. So in all, these kind of arrangements see commercials anywhere between 1.5 to 2%. It again depends on what kind of loan. So that's so it's like a fee income for us.
Yeah, got that.
Okay, I'm sorry. We are really out of time. So one more?
1 plus 1 and one comment and one question. Comment very quickly. This is super encouraging to see. The work that we do kind of exposes us to the kind of stakeholders you're trying to cater here. Recently, we were in the field and we understood that people were not able to trust the consent journey of account aggregators because it was very new and it triggered paranoia about digital frauds, etc. So having the post person there is kind of a huge source of confidence, and we cannot at any level undermine that. So I think that's you didn't need to hear this, but I wanted to say it. And the second question is that right now the post person is really acting as, a digital assistant point.
Correct.
Right? To kind of support the digital interface. Do you in the future also see them becoming a financial interface, in the sense that can they provide some kind of advice or help people choose products, etc.? Is that a journey that you see?
Okay, as we speak, some of that is already happening, ma'am. There are two things essentially that happen, in these kind of transactions. One is we organize all these things happen in a camp mode, where postman goes to a village and then people gather, and during that even our resources keep spreading this financial awareness. But to talk about the relationship management kind of setup, that requires a higher amount of training. So we try to keep that process very, very simple so that the time that a postman or a woman spends is little less.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for your questions. If there are any others, we'll take them offline. We are completely out of time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll request our speakers to please remain on stage for a moment. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. In this event, we'll hear a lot about digital public infrastructure. But this remarkable session has taught us that we must not overlook the extensive physical public infrastructure that we have, powered by enthusiastic people like Akansha, the postwoman who we heard from today, and how the marriage of digital and physical can result in efficient universal service delivery all across the country, even in the most hard-to-reach places. So in order to show our thanks to our speakers, we'd like to invite the co-founder of SamvAAd Foundation, Mr. B.G. Mahesh, to felicitate our speakers. Mr. Prashant Muddu, CEO of Jocata, Akansha from the India Post Payments Bank, Mr. Anand Raman from CGAP, and Mr. Venkat, MD and CEO of India Post Payments Bank.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you once again to our speakers for that lovely talk.